Hey everybody, it's Jim and welcome back to another lesson of Introduction to Korn Shell. A couple lessons ago we went over how you can run a Korn Shell script and save the output to a text file. And last time we went over how you can run a Korn Shell script and display one page of output at a time. Now today we're going to go over how you can use a text file as your source of input when you run a Korn Shell script. So let's get started. This script goes over how to use a file as a source of input. And right here, we just tell the user to enter some data and use Control-D, which is end of file, to stop. Now our next line is this. It's a while statement, and every while statement has a test condition, which immediately follows the word while. In this case, this is our test condition. And you may remember that this is a read statement, the Korn Shell and read. And when you type something into a keyboard, it stores whatever you type into the variable var. Well, this is going to be our test condition. The way it works is that if the read statement executes properly, in other words, it was able to read something in from the keyboard, then it returns a value of true. Therefore, this while test is true, and you go inside of the do to done portion of the while loop. Also, if you type just a carriage return for this read statement here, that also functions as true. What happens that even though you didn't type any letters in or numbers in, it still was able to process that you entered a carriage return in. So it stores nothing in the variable var. However, it was able to understand that you wanted to enter nothing into the variable var. Therefore, it takes it as true. Now, the only way to get this to report a false value is to enter an end of file marker, which is a Control-D. So once again, the way this works is you get to this point, the program will wait for you to enter something into the variable var. As long as you enter something in, even if it's just a carriage return, the read statement comes out true. Therefore, our test condition is true, and we go inside of the do to done portion, which just says line, and then we print whatever the user entered. So let's run this. So it says input data, use Control-D, end of file to stop. Just some garbage. It prints exactly what we typed in. Prints exactly what we typed in. If we just hit a carriage return, it prints exactly what we typed in, which was nothing. So let's enter some more garbage in. And now let's do Control-D. And as you can see, the program stopped. Here's what's actually happened. When you enter the Control-D, the read statement returned a false value. Therefore, this test was false. So therefore, we continue execution of our script from after the word done. Well, there is nothing after the word done. Therefore, we end our script. Now, here comes the magic. This is where we take an input file and use it as the input for this program. So instead of the program prompting us to type stuff on the command line, instead, it's going to grab all its data from the input file. So let's look at what is in the input file. Just with the cat command, which displays the contents of a file. And it's just 3 lines. Now, you may remember that when you want to take a program and save output to a text file, you enter the name of the program, you take an arrow and point it to the output file, and then you give the name of the output file. And of course, if you wanted to save the error conditions, you do that. Now, to use an input file, you do something very similar. You take the name of the program, you take an arrow and you point it to the program, and then you use the name of the input file. So when you want to save output, you point the arrow to the output file. When you want to use an input file, you point the arrow to the program. Kind of makes sense. Says that data is flowing in this direction, and this one says that data is flowing in this direction. So let's run this. And as you can see, our first line of input was A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It printed it. Our second line was our number series. And our third line was Bond, James Bond. Here's what happened. When we got to this point, the next thing in the file is actually an end of file marker. Therefore, our read statement within the while loop picked up the end of file marker, returned a false value because that's what happens when it gets an end of file, and the while statement, the while test condition, was false, so we didn't go back inside of our while loop. As you can see, every time the program read one line from the file, it put it in the variable var, and then just printed it. And then when we ran out of lines in our input file, the very last character that the read statement would see is the end of file marker, and therefore it reads an end of file marker. It returns a false value. Therefore, our while test condition is false. So therefore, we get out of our while loop. And we press the done, and there's nothing after the done, so we exit out.